Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. Rajkumar Academy. Recently we had received lot of requests from the student community to help them understand how to read a newspaper, understand a newspaper and also make notes from it. Even after coaching, freshers, even after few attempts, some people are not in a position to know how exactly you need to study the newspaper. And one of the major problem is the availability of monthly magazines and all, where students normally feel reading that is enough. But nowadays they have started realizing that reading newspaper is extremely important. So initially, at least for 2 to 3 months, if you can follow this regularly and make notes along with me, it will help you out in understanding newspaper in a better form over a period of time. I would say these lectures are meant for freshers where I'm going to tell certain basic aspects, but at the same time, will also be helping you out in understanding the issues in greater depth. So, guys, I would wish you people to keep the newspaper along with newspaper book, preferably papers, so that over a period of time you can keep adding additional information to these news that you are writing down. So, to begin with, let us see today's newspaper, that is August 22nd, 2022. Now, when we look at this particular paper, this is Bangalore edition or Bengaluru city edition newspaper, and most of the issues which are important for us is covered in this. So whichever city you are from doesn't matter. Maybe the outlook of the first page varies, but the important informations remain same. Now, the first issue is about the car blast in Moscow kills daughter of key Putin aide. Not so important. What is more important for us is facing government action, Huawei to dial down R&D operations. Decision comes after IT searches and probes into national security aspects. See guys, Huawei is a Chinese based company and it is believed that it has control or it is controlled by the Chinese government officials as well. And any data that these people collect is going to be stored and they are accessible to Chinese as well. Even though this company has its operations in India, when it comes to profits, money laundering, and many other issues, like for example, trust of the government, all these are issues with this particular company. To be frank, according to WTO regulations, if at all any company comes into India, you cannot differentiate the company on the basis of its nationality. You cannot say this is an Indian company and a Chinese company and make laws specifically. Please remember, once a company is within the country, then you need to treat that as yours and you should not differentiate the company's products or the company purely on the basis of its nationality. This is the WTO rules that you have, right? But from economy point of view, if I look at it, if I start harassing a company through CBI rates, IT rates, and all, obviously other companies will be thinking whether we should shift to India or not. Correct? But even then, India is not allowing Hawaiian company in the name of national interests. So, in WTO, we actually have something called as the term national interest. So, if anything affects our national interest, then you are permitted to act against. I'll give an example to you. Now, these Hawaiian company mobiles, right? Some Chinese company mobiles, Defense Ministry gave a notice that defense personnel should not buy and use them for official purposes. And this was issued in national interest. Now, the Chinese company cannot go to WTO and file a case when it is in security issues. Whereas the same case was there with respect to United States. So India wanted to generate 500 megawatts of electricity through solar energy. Fine. Now what happened? Indian government told that 250 megawatts you should only use Indian products. All the raw materials must be from India. For another 250 megawatts, it is your wish. Whichever country's products you want, you can use. Now, US company products are very cheaper, and most of the Indian companies will always purchase US products rather than purchasing Indian products. This is the benefit US had. But now, in this case, India told only Indian products because no one is purchasing Indian products as it is costly. And if you do that, Indian companies will shut down. And then we are dependent only on US companies, which is not good for Indian companies. At that point of time, this law was made, and US filed a case in WTO, and WTO clearly told that this is in violation of WTO rules. And this concept of India was removed. Whereas the same thing is not applicable to China because we are saying no in the name of national interest. Remember, guys, in the name of national interest, in the name of human rights, child labor, for example, cricket bats, football, and all are very well manufactured in Pakistan, but European Union banned these products only on the basis of child labor. Whereas when it comes to human rights, in Bangladesh, people were working in inhuman conditions. They did not have proper basic amenities like electricity, water, timely food. Nothing was given to them. So European Union stopped products from Bangladesh on the basis of human rights. Similarly, when it comes to India, right, in Madhya Pradesh, one NGO was about to go to European Union, especially Greenpeace, and they wanted to tell that India is trying to displace tribal communities and get coal. So any products manufactured with coal or with the help of coal must not be imported from India. So there are certain issues associated with WTO, and UPSC has asked questions on the basis of those aspects. So guys, for me, this is very important issue which you have to write not only in this particular context but also in terms of internal security as well. Lookout notice against 8 in Delhi excise policy case is it is not required because it is about Delhi issue and the court has not given any judgment. It is just arrest. So don't worry. Sisodia counters CBI, not required because it's a political issue. And then guys, the second page anywhere will be that city news, so you can avoid it. And then when you are talking about third, fourth pages as well, it will be purely on the basis of local news. So if you are preparing for civil services, this is not required. Similarly, guys, it is not important for you to read the south as well until and unless certain issues which are given in the front page. Now let us come to editorial. Lot of people have a tendency that you need to read newspaper at least for 1.5 to 2 hours or 2.5 hours, and as soon as they enter into this field they try to take the news and start reading everything in it. But remember, when it comes to editorial, this is the core area where you will get lot of time we are wasting in reading this. So I would say before reading, look at two issues. One is it electoral issue? Like Bihar is important in news today mainly because of Nitish Kumar coming out of BJP. Second, it is also extremely important for us to look at who the author is. Now, Asim Ali, he is a political researcher and a columnist based in Delhi. See, guys, the moment you see that they are political researchers, they work in research, they are scholars, they are teachers, and all, you can leave that article until and unless the issue, if you feel, is important. The reason for this is if you people keep on reading all the articles given, then you're wasting time. You should know what to read and what not to read. And editorial, if you're preparing for next year, that is 2023, then editorial is required for mains and that too from January. But from now onwards, if you can collect certain merits and demerits of issues, understanding the concepts over a period of time would be easier. So I won't say that don't read it, but read on the basis of the issue and also who is the person who has written it. Now, if you look at in consensus vote, relief and caution for Democrats. Now, who is the person? It is about US guys, Sridhar Krishna Swamy, and when he is talking about the issue that is going on, actually he is a journalist who has worked in North America. So I would say again, this is waste of your time studying about a particular vote that happened in United States of America. But you see in these two articles, that is on the left side, this will be interesting because they give opinion. So I would say the first issue is about the Delhi liquor issue. So don't worry about it. It's not so important. But the second issue is about Somalia. UPSC nowadays is focusing on international relations where certain issues which has global recognition, where United Nations, India and many other countries are worried about, UPSC is asking questions on that. So, Somalia is a country which is present in Africa, especially near the Horn of Africa. So, I just want you to open your atlas, pause for a while, and check where exactly do you have Horn of Africa. And guys, second important thing, you might have heard about Al Qaeda terror outfit. Similarly, there is Al terror outfit in Somalia, which is associated with Al Qaeda. So, in prelims, there can be a question: Al Shabaab is present in which country? You must be aware it is Somalia. So, in your notes today, the number of issues that are there in newspaper is very less. In your notes, I want you to write one page separately. You write it as IR facts, international relations facts. And whenever there are these issues, I will show you that. And these facts are important for us purely from prelims point of view and nothing more than that. So you can write there Somalia, Horn of Africa. Fine, Somalia, Horn of Africa, hyphen Al Shabaab, terrorist organization. Fine. So this is very, very important for you. Apart from that, guys, there is nothing much that you need to look into it. I just want you to know from 1991, Somalia is in trouble where civil war, that means two communities within Somalia is fighting, and from that till now you have several problems in this particular area. There is an issue here. What next on data protection? So this is actually written by an advocate, right, where they are talking about there is no proper data privacy in India. So I just want you people to be aware that it is very, very important for you to know why data protection is important. I'll just tell you first what it is, and then I will tell the quick points that you must take from this particular article. Now, what exactly do we understand by data privacy? Now, just understand that today everything is digital. Your Aadhaar, we are also talking about banking networks. We are also keeping almost all our data, like PAN card, Aadhaar card, digital lockers are there. So most of our data is in digital form. Now, there is no proper policy in India to protect it. So as we do not have a proper policy, there is criticism from different sections and also different countries. Let me give an example. European Union, they have several banks, and in the banks the employees whoever is there, they will be from Europe itself, but the back end work of entering data entry and all is done from India. So you might have seen advertisements everywhere. Data entry jobs are available, work from home is available, where you need to sit and type, and if you don't type you won't get money. Mistakes they cut. So All these jobs are done in India and they are actually looting money. The companies or middlemen who are there, they are looting money. Now, in European Union, minimum wage is very high. So if you want to hire a labor, it is very, very costly. Because of that, many people are, or many banks, companies, they are sending those jobs to India, and Obama called this as Bangalore. He used a new terminology called as Bangalore. Bangalore means a job lost in US will go to a person in Bangalore. This is what he meant. Now, European Union, if I say there is an employee, I need to pay approximately 1,50,000 when I convert it to Indian rupees. But for India, if the job is sent, you need to pay only 50,000 rupees. So the banks were sending the jobs to India so that they can save money, or other companies as well. But now what happened? European Union told if any job is sent to India, then you need to pay additional tax to it. So let us say they imposed a tax of 20,000 rupees. So total is how much? 70,000 rupees. Now 70,000 rupees is cheaper compared to paying 1,50,000. So banks, companies, whether it is from US or European Union, is still sending the jobs to India. So they were not in a position to stop them. So now these people are calling that India is data insecure. So if any country is called as data insecure, then you cannot send your data to that particular country. Why? If you try to send to that particular country, then that country is going to misuse the data. We don't want the data to be misused. India is fighting for data secure status. Now government is looking at framing a policy so that all these aspects are met, and every time when government is thinking of a policy, there is criticism from some sector that we are not in a position to, or we will not be benefited if at all you pass this particular bill. Now, in this article, what is important for me is if you check, there are certain committees that are given here. For example, Sri Krishna committee, like a bill, the version of the JPC or Joint Parliamentary Committee in 2021. You just write these two terms in your notes and you say that, like this you can write in another page, internal security. Below that you can write cyber security and data privacy. Below that, data privacy. Guys, whenever there is a question on data privacy, I want you to write that it is better if India can implement Sri Krishna committee report. It is better if India can implement joint parliamentary committee report. Rather than you suggesting the means, it would be easier if you can follow what is already given. Fine? Yes, I would say give 10 minutes, pause the video, and then read this article once. So that is more than enough. And making bail impossible. This is actually written by an advocate and it is not so important, so don't get into it. Another issue is Kerala specific. Don't worry about it. And this, we need to look at the next issue, that is floods in Himachal Pradesh. High possibility that this year in mains there can be a question on this, because regularly whenever there is any sort of disaster in India, questions have always come. Now, what is the issue that we are observing is in Himachal Pradesh, we are observing land slips. This land slip is similar to landslide. Flash floods basically means in less time you get heavy rainfall which leads to floods. Let me give you an example. For 1 hour there was rainfall, and within 1 hour the area got flooded. That is called flash flood. You have a new term called as flash drought. What is the meaning of flash drought? There will be 1 hour of heat wave, wind blowing, that will remove the moisture that is actually present. Cloud burst. Guys, what is cloud burst? Cloud burst is associated with a cloud called as cumulonimbus clouds. And these cumulonimbus clouds, they give very heavy rainfall in less time, in less area. Remember, what is the meaning of cloud burst? Not all clouds will have cloud burst, only cumulonimbus clouds. In less time, less area, more rainfall is called as cloud burst. Guys, you should learn the meaning of terminologies. So you can write in your notes geography separately, Himachal Pradesh floods, landslides, flash floods, cloud burst. And you also have to tell that there was 300% departure on the higher side than normal. The meaning of this, guys, normally whatever is the amount of rainfall expected, let us say 25 centimeter is the rainfall expected, but there was 75 centimeter rainfall. So this 300% can be used in your answers. How? When UPSC asks you a question to write about floods in India, you can say recently in Himachal Pradesh there was 300% departure than the normal floods or normal rainfall. Or when they are asking you to write about climate change, impact of climate change, urban floods and all, you need to give examples of Himachal Pradesh where the rainfall is more than 300%. So using the same point in different articles will be helpful for you. So see guys, landslides, flash floods, cloud burst. These three are very, very important. Now guys, there was a report which said, made by RBI, that the digital payments like GPay, Paytm, whatever you are using, that it must be taxed so that some amount of recovery will happen. And they were asking go for 1 paisa, 2 paisa per transaction. But government has told that it is considered to be a very important good, and we don't want to put any sort of charges on that. So this is very, very important, guys. So you need to read this particular article completely for your understanding. So take 3 minutes maximum, close, pause and then read quickly. And I want you to note the term, you can use this specific term. It is digital public good. So UPSC may ask you a prelims question. What do you understand by digital public good? Fine. So they may tell you that certain platforms like UPI, NEFT, IMPS. So what is digital public good? Public good is the one which is of everyone's or which is used by everyone, and normally people think that it is it belongs to everyone, and when anything belongs to everyone you should not put tax on them. So it is not a privilege good where, like, it is available only for the rich and not for the poor. So guys, the word digital public good can come. So just be careful. In economy, a separate page. Every day I will also dictate notes whenever it is required. In papers, you write separately. I'm asking you to write in papers because we can keep on adding n number of issues. Else it's very difficult if you're writing in the book. It will be a mess at the end. Fine. In economy, use that specific term of public good. Guys, Delhi police detain Tikayat on the way to Stir, not so important. Meghalaya Assam CMs hold talks. Yes, this is a very, very important issue, and this is in news for multiple reasons, guys. I want you to write this under internal security. Now, what is this issue all about? At the time of independence, entire northeast India, except Sikkim, was divided into two states. One was Assam, another one was Arunachal Pradesh. And when we are talking about Arunachal Pradesh, they used to call it as Northeast Frontier Agency, and now it is actually Arunachal Pradesh. The second most important one is about Northeast India, that is Assam, which was separated into Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya, right? So these are the different states that have come out of Assam. So when we are looking at this, remember Assam is an area where you have tribal population, and when Indian government demarcated the states, some tribal communities were on either side of the border. So when when Meghalaya was made from Assam, some people or some tribal communities were left out, and because of that, those areas are disputed by both sides. So Assam has problem with Nagaland, Assam has problem with Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya mostly. Like, it might not be major problems, but some border problems were there, and now they are able to come out of it. They are trying to work to come out of it. Central government is working hard to ensure that the border problems between the states is reduced. So just remember that in internal security you have a topic about, security issues. In that, I want you to note that state disputes state disputes or border disputes in northeast India, also has led to militant activities. Also has led to militant activities. Guys, measures, there only you write measures. Government has taken several measures, has taken several measures to reduce these border problems, to reduce these border problems, and recently six six disputes were resolved between Assam and Meghalaya. As a fresher, you might feel these are not so important, or what or where can we use it. Over a period of time, you will realize I will be telling you that these words which we wrote are important now. Yes, as a person who has read these histories for long, everyone is waiting that the progress of Northeast depends upon resolving these conflicts. And today we are seeing some sort of that specific aspect. Fine. Now, if opposition agrees Nitish can be a strong candidate for Prime Minister, not required as it is political. Forcible Aadhaar voter ID linking. Government is planning to link Aadhaar and voter IDs. And if this really happens, many fake voter IDs will be removed. And due to COVID and many other aspects, many people were killed or died. Now their voter IDs will be active if it is not updated properly. And remember guys, birth, death certification, election commission, these all don't work together. If they work together, we get to know who is alive and who is not alive. In the electoral list, normally they keep all these names. And unfortunately, people will come and vote, or cross votings will happen, even of the people who are dead. So, if you are linking voter ID with Aadhaar, then in future, whenever people come for voting, they have to first give their thumb impression, and only if it is valid, then it will link to the voting process as well. Else, you may not be allowed to give a vote. This will hurt most of the political parties. Government is trying to say that the process is voluntary, but others are trying to say that no, this is mandatory. So, guys, this is another process of eliminating wrong voter IDs, but at the same time, certain groups who are migrants, refugees, who have acquired these voter IDs will also be removed. But several NGOs and all feel government wants Aadhaar data of everyone, and they want to remove the people who are against Aadhaar from the electoral things. So they have their own claims. And some people argue that it is not safe. As it is not safe, that is, data protection doesn't happen, we don't want to get into it. So guys, you can see here Mr. Rijiju told Parliament in August that the reasons for linking voter IDs with Aadhaar numbers led to streamline electoral rolls and the process of registration of migrated voters without duplication in the rolls. That means if I have shifted from Karnataka to Andhra Pradesh, then my voter ID will be there in Karnataka also, and my voter ID will be there in Andhra Pradesh as well. And at the same time, to curb the menace of multiple enrollment of same person in different places. So they want to reduce that. But you see, some people saying that it is against individuals' right to privacy. Many have also said that linkage would help in creating voter profiles which may be used to influence the voting process. The meaning of this, guys, once I get to know your Aadhaar linkage, I may also get to know your account details. I may also get to know whether you are rich, whether you are poor. I may get to know your phone numbers, personal accounts, and during elections, the government can send messages on the basis of what the people want so that it would be easy for them to win elections. So, guys, remember, I want you to write merits and demerits, right? You can write it as like polity electoral process, polity electoral process, Aadhaar voter ID linking, Aadhaar voter ID linking, merits. You write first one, prevents duplication of prevents electoral roll, duplication of electoral roll. Second, also prevents illegal migrants from acquiring voter IDs. Demerits against right to privacy, against right to privacy. If it is forcibly done, against right to privacy if it is forcibly done. Second, linking linking would help in creating creating voter profiles voter profiles which may lead to changing voting pattern. Fine. So this is very very important, and this is a very important issue. Poor being bled dry by litigation, CJI designate. He has given data, guys. He says that in India, more than 70% of the people are below poverty line, but when it comes to litigations in the court, only 12% of the people have chosen to reach to the court. That means most of the poor people are scared of coming to the court. This is what they're trying to tell. Uh, like this if you can make a note that in polity itself, you can make a note. Guys, Aadhaar, voter ID linkage, leave half a page and then write below. Accessibility to courts, accessibility to courts. You say below that you write poor people, poor people do not do not come to court for legal support. For legal support. Full stop. 70% of population is poor. 70% of population is poor, but only 12% opt for legal aid. Legal aid. So we must have we must have legal aid defense council system. LADCS. Legal aid defense council system. Yes, this can be used in ethics or even in essays case. BJP faces a tricky balancing act in Madhya Pradesh, not required. Okay, guys, this is a Rohingya issue. Don't worry about it. We'll discuss that issue in detail sometime. India China ties can't be a one way street. It is just a comment that we are trying from our side, but China is not working. Any relationship has to be from both the sides. This is what they're trying to tell. Freebies come at a price, economist. So Ashima Goyal is actually one of the member in MPC, that is Monetary Policy Committee, which is aimed at reducing inflation in the country. And due to Prime Minister using the term competitive populism, she was trying to say that freebies are never free. For example, she says free electricity will lead to depletion of groundwater, which happened in coastal Andhra Pradesh, which is also happening in Punjab. So that's what she wants to say, that political parties must tell from where they are going to get money and what are the other side effects of giving free electricity. For example, in Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, and many other parts, the state electricity boards are not in a position to pay money for purchasing coal. And Coal India is suffering because of this. And why state electricity department is not in a position to pay? Because the recoveries are very less because of the freebies that is given to them. So these are some of the issues. Yes, it is just a understanding. Read it once. Nothing much to write about it. So my advice is just where to invest and all, guys. Don't worry about it. It's not so important. Yes, and world news, you see, Zelensky warns of ugly Russian attack around Independence Day. So Russia-Ukraine war is going on. In international relations and other classes, they will teach you this. If any important issue is there, then I'll elaborate and go back to it, guys. Singapore issue not so important. Pakistan singer not important. Pakistan media not important. Flash floods kill 20 in eastern Afghanistan not important. Somali security forces, I already told you, Somalia crisis is happening. After that, you have sports not so important things. So, guys, these are some of the important things that we wanted to discuss, and I hope it is beneficial for you, where we have a clear explanation of the topics and we also made notes. Today, it is very quick. It won't take so less time if there are number of articles more in editorial and always. And economy Mondays will be little less. So because of that, you have another advantage. So guys, thanks a lot. Thanks for your patience, and please inform to your friends. There is a new batch opening for UPSC and KPSC, and you can contact us in the following numbers given. Thank you.